name's Landin Lemoine. I am the Director of Business Development at Modo Labs, and joined by probably a familiar face for many of you, Ryan Seilhamer, who is the Instructure designer at University of Central Florida. So we're excited to hear today to present to you guys a little bit about Modo Labs, but more importantly, how universities and higher ed institutions are using a mobile platform to create a unique and custom experience for their students, alumni, the whole range of folks participating within your institution. So I'd like to start with just a couple high-level trends and challenges that we see in the market that I'm sure has been said at this conference a couple times. Security, student communication, always a trend. Personalization, engagement of learning, AR, VR. In fact, I think it was last week Forbes named the personalization and engagement and learning, which is why we're all here, but also VR and AR as the two top trends in 2017 for higher ed. With all these new technologies and things that are coming out to try to gauge your students and stay as relevant as you can within your campus, we know that these are some of the items that are challenging for any school. Mobile strategy, not just with one app experience, for example, a Canvas, but mobile strategy as a whole for your entire campus. Innovation, funding, I feel like they kind of go two in the same. How do you continue to innovate when you might not have the resources to do so? And retention and admissions, which is always a hot topic. I think dropout rates are something that every single person in this room is always thinking about and making sure to be aware of, and whatever tools can help close those rates is something that any institution should be excited to use. So with all these institutional problems, we like to take the approach of what do students expect with mobile? We at Modo Labs view this in a very sort of holistic way. We know that students want all this information, everything from travel information to their calendar, to library times, to availability, of course their courses, what assignments do they have due. But within all this information and ecosystem, they're expecting the items you see here at the top, the ease of use, of course, the simple UI, making it customized, personal, and I think everyone in this room that's an instructional designer and that cares about the content, it needs to be relevant. If the content and things that are being pushed out to students are not relevant, who's going to engage with whatever application you're using? So who we are, Modo Labs. You may have heard our name last night. We did, in fact, do the InstructureCon app, so I hope you are enjoying it and collecting those badges. We are based in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and we are a platform for people to create mobile apps in a no-code, very, very easy way for your school to not only engage and communicate with them, but also give the experiences and put the information in front of them that they want to see most. So we're going to actually be doing a live demo with you guys at the end of the session. So if you have an iPhone or Android, please download the Kurogo Mobile Campus Preview app. And once you download, they'll ask you for an email and that code. We're going to be doing a live demo, and you'll be able to see all the updates that we're doing up here right on your phone. I will say a disclaimer. Someone whispered in my ear, the Wi-Fi is a little bit shaky right now with all these sessions, so try to switch either to an LTE or Wi-Fi, and apologies if it doesn't work. So I'll put that up at the end of the presentation, but again, it's a Kurogo Mobile Campus Preview, and that's what the app will look like, and the code is going to be UCF 2017. All right. Let's click forward. Cool. So Modo Labs, what we wanted to talk to you guys about today and really sort of understand when it comes to engaging students is, universities are creating applications for move-in, for new student orientation, for graduation, not just the standard campus app where students can access dining information, maps, shuttle services, courses, add-drop classes. We want to enable schools and multi-departments within the schools to build these apps. So this is our admin tool. As you'll see, no code, very much a drag and drop environment. And today during the demo, we're going to show you how easy it is to actually create one of these apps and make changes. We have a technology that allows you to continue to publish and push out live updates without having to resubmit each time to the app Android store. So you can continue to make your app exciting and live right there on the fly, or whomever is responsible for that. So I like to show this slide for no crazy reason. So this is what we call a list style. This style of app is old as they come when the iPhone started. As you see, a simple just list items people click, to navigate through the app. The reason why I like to show this is Modo Labs has taken these designs, these templates, and there are many of them, and you can see created very much different look and feel, I would say a sort of a facelift 2.0 to these type of styles that students, you as administrators, are familiar with. We're going to be showing you a couple different ways in which apps are being built on Modo. Our philosophy is still that every school needs to look and feel like they should. They need to represent their brand that is custom to them. It is not one size fits all. But in Modo, to take one screen to the other with any of these templates is a matter of minutes. So it is very easy to get these type of looks and actually experiment with them, test them out with students even before you go live. So your designers, your communications department, everybody can have a buy-in to what is going on within the campus. With Canvas integration, why we're here, Canvas is a great partner of ours. We've been really excited to work with them along with a lot of the LMSs in the market today. So we actually work with Canvas in a couple different ways. So what you're seeing here is actually our native module. It comes straight out of the box. It's for students to check their courses, announcements, and we are actually plugging into Canvas's APIs to feed into this module. You're not going to see as much functionality as far as their native app, but we'll show you in a moment how to integrate with that. But this is essentially, sort of the key items, and it can be customizable. Whatever is available in Canvas's APIs, Modo Labs is able to bring in to their standard native experience, which is what you see here. Additionally, two other ways that we can work with any third party, including Canvas, and you'll see how this particular university just added the Canvas link. They hit that, and then a couple of different experiences could happen. We've got external URLs, so smart web views. I know Canvas is actively working on making sure their mobile responsive pages are continuing to be up to par. And what we see with a lot of clients, and even with UCF, is linking out natively. So you can put the app right in sort of your core student app, and then when a student clicks Canvas, it would actually launch the native app if they have that on their phone. If they didn't, it would bring them to the App Store to then download. This isn't the craziest technology. However, how easy it is to bring in Canvas in your app, that takes this process, which you see here, and this is our admin portal. This takes about 2 minutes to bring Canvas into your current student app. So very easy to set up and get going. Modo Labs as a whole, we like to frame it as a 360 solution. I sort of mentioned at the beginning the different type of individuals that you can have an app for. We call it personas, whether you're a student, faculty, alumni, you can have a different experience for all those individuals, and more importantly, allow the teams within your institution to manage that, to keep the content updated, and generate relevant information on mobile, which can of course be scaled all the way to an iPad, desktop, even up to a kiosk. So we've got many of our customers using it across the board on all devices, including both operating systems. So this is just a couple examples of how schools are using Modo, and of course, prospect students, addressing that admissions and retention, students being the core, parents, faculty, donors, facilities, which we know are a key part of any university, and even the community. Engaging your community, any campus that I've spoken with, it's not just about the campus itself, it's every business around, every neighborhood. They want to be involved with your institution. So Modo Labs allows you to do that and allows these type of individuals right up here to participate in that development. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce Ryan again. So UCF has been a great customer of ours, and we are excited for you guys to hear how they use Modo Labs, what success they've had, and then at the end, we're going to jump back into the demo and show you guys a couple ways that we can easily build some Modo stuff. So Ryan.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see, I get my mic situation here. Oh, nice. Need sunglasses. Anyway, so we're going to talk to you a little bit about Modo Labs and UCF. So before we start, just want to give you a brief overview of UCF. If you may not know of a small college in Orlando, Florida, we have 64,000 students, 200 majors, 13 colleges, tons of regional campuses, College of Medicine, and also probably one of the best hospitality schools out there because we're right there next to Universal Studios and Disney World. So our students really like the experience they have at UCF. So let's talk a little bit about the app. So the application itself, it was released in 2011 on iOS and 2012 on Android. So we were using different vendors and different experiences, and I would say it started off as a hobby. And as the years grown and more students have phones, 99% of our students have either an Android or an iOS device, we realized that we needed to get a little more serious about it. We've had 175,000 downloads, and we have about 18 million page views per year, and that doesn't even include the stuff that they link to off of that. So we produce even more hits than that. So we re-released the app in July of 2016 with Modo Labs, so we've been using it for about a year now. It includes a lot of different things. It includes 23 modules. Moving to Modo Labs gave us an iPad version we didn't have before, push notifications, which were really wonderful for communicating to students. Instant updates, so you'll see that in the demo how we can just instantly update things. And that's all for the publisher tool. But I just want to talk a little bit about our most popular modules, because most people always ask me, what's the most popular ones? So here are the most popular ones. The one at the top is a little funny. You would say Knight's Mail, which is Office 365. Well, why didn't the student just put the mail on their phone? We found a lot of students didn't really want to be burdened by that. They didn't want those notifications. They just wanted to have a place that they could just easily just tap on it, go to the web view, and be able to get in and out where they want. And it saves their login and stuff like that. So this is a very popular tool directly in there. But other things, we use MyUCF. We're PeopleSoft. We use Gray Heller to mobilize our portal. Canvas, which we brand as web courses, we link directly to the application. We use some API magic as well to make that a little more seamless. But campus maps, shuttles, parking, those things that students want and they need on the go. So these are the most popular modules, but other modules are very popular as well. We do a survey every year. We do a survey every other year, a major survey. We're about to do one in 2018. But in 2016, we asked, do you use the UCF Mobile app? And we were really excited to see these numbers, but particularly looking at the sophomores and the juniors, because freshmen are easy. They come in, during orientation. It's very easy to get a hold of them. But as the students start going through, it's a little bit harder to engage with them. So we're really happy to see these numbers. And as the years go by, we're going to see these numbers increase as well. So we're really excited about that. So most common question, how much do you spend on marketing this UCF mobile app? Like, what do you do? And the answer is we don't spend any money marketing it. I've talked to schools that wrap buses and put posters up, and we have social media campaigns and different ways of getting it out. But the way we actually market the app is through two things. We market it through partnership. We partner with strategic partners across campus that need a mobile presence that students want. So there's a reason to bring students into the app. And we continue to add value. We continue to look at things across campus that are important to students and bring that to them. You can see we have I say students a lot. Our app is very student-centered, but they're our biggest audience by far. So let me talk a little bit about events, because this is where the rubber meets the road with partners. So here's a couple events that we've done, and we were able to work with partners and stand these up in like a week, really fast, because they had the content already, and we just had to put it in the system. So Pegasus Palooza right here affects on Pegasus Palooza. This is like the first 2 weeks of school. It's new students. Any student can be involved, but it's centered for new students just to get acclimated to the campus. There's different events. So this worked really well. The one in the center is our homecoming last year. Most schools have homecomings. But this is great because this expands past students. It goes to alumni, it goes to faculty, it goes to staff. It even goes out to the community. This affects a lot of people, and it was extremely successful. And we had well over 150,000 visits to this application last year. And then also the last one on the side here is UCF Move-In. About 12,000 students move into UCF every year, and they need lots of information, including how do I set up my internet, where do I go, where do I park, and that move-in day is important, and also that week after is important for them to find that information. So we work with housing to do that. But we do even more. As he was talking about different personas and making things relevant as well, we reach out to our community. So different personas, different ways to reach out to particular pieces of the application. So we have commencement. That's a big deal for families and students. The middle one here is called Nighthon. It's a small event that we do every year to raise money for Children's Miracle Network. And also here, UCF remembers. If the Pulse tragedy happened in Orlando, we wanted to dedicate a spot to it for a week. We had events around campus, and we wanted to have a nice simple module so students and faculty and anyone in the community could be able to partake in that. And we were able to stand these up really fast, which was really exciting. And it didn't require any app updates, which was really nice. And the last thing I'm going to focus on here is just communication. Right now, we can reach about 60,000 iOS and Android devices, and we use push notifications for a few ways. We have informational. Simply, so if we're not pushing updates to the store, we need students to know there's been updates, so we might push those updates, push notification. Hey, we've added parking, or we've changed a module. Emergencies are pretty straightforward. If there's an emergency on campus, we can notify students. And the last one is supporting events. So if there's an event going on, and say there's homecoming, and let's say there's a big event coming up in homecoming, we can use those to reach out to our students. Future plans, there's Modo Labs supports something called personalized notifications. So you can actually have your authentication built in, and you can talk directly to the students. So maybe you want to notify a student when they have a hold, or grades are in, or financial aid, so you can tie directly into that. And then the last thing that they're going to release pretty soon is called channel-based notifications, which are cool because they're opt-in. I can give it to any T on campus. Let's say maybe I were to give it to the people running homecoming. They could create a channel, and students can go opt in and opt out of that. And then if you're interested in just homecoming, then you get those homecoming notifications. If you're not, you don't get those. It doesn't require any sort of authentication either. So that's kind of the lowest level, lowest friction getting into it. With that, back to you,
yes,
I think.
Thank you. All right. So if you haven't downloaded, go ahead and download the Kurogo Campus Preview app. The code is UCF 2017. Just raise your hand if you can't log in for some reason. I will also have my phone up on the screen.
All right. We're going to do some maneuvering here.
Yes. All right. And hopefully mine will work so that everyone can see. So I'll walk you through a little bit what we're going to do in this demo. So this is my phone here. So I'm controlling that one. I'm not sure how to get the little Apple thing out of there, but that's okay. We're going to be walking through. So this is a live replica of UCF's mobile app. One thing that I always thought was really cool that UCF does is as they launch new modules, you can see Move in here, they change the color scheme, making sure to draw attention to it with students. And that's what we're going to be editing today. So when Ryan and I talked and decided to plan this presentation, we said, what changes do you really want to make? Let's try to make this as real as possible. So we're going to walk through a couple things. We're going to do some quick stuff, just how to add an image here and how easy it is. If you have this on your phone, as we do it, you'll be able to refresh and the changes will go live. So we're going to do that. We're going to update the mail module to actually get involved. UCF decided, and Ryan, you can correct me here, if mail wasn't as important as originally thought.
Well, this here is physical mail, and so we're going to, students don't need physical mail anymore, right?
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
So, yeah.
So we're going to be changing that to what we're going to call Get Involved module. And then we're actually going to add a laundry module to this move-in. So you can see here at the bottom, coming soon. UCF always makes sure that students know that they're continuing trying to add to the app. So we're going to create a laundry module from scratch and then wrap it all up with a welcome notification. So if you've opted in, you should receive the push notification right here in the demo. So if we're ready to go, I'll walk through that.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is, we notice over here, hey, we may lose access. Thank you, Google. Should I hit OK?
I think so.
Okay, sounds good. I'm getting scared. The spy stuff going on. All right, anyway, so what to expect. So this is the Mondrian setup. So they have a bunch of different templates that you can use. And this is one of their newer ones. So it sets up kind of a block type situation. So what I can do is I'm going to tap on here. I notice under what to expect, I don't have any information. So what I need to do is I need to change that background image because who needs a gold block? So what I'm going to do is I have an image directly on my, I'm going to go here. I have a nice little image. I'm just going to hit open. It's going to upload it and attach it. And we'll play the loading game right now. Are we on Wi-Fi?
I hope so. This was the Wi-Fi piece, yeah.
When demos go badly, so. Yeah. So imagine that you'd upload a photo. It's not a gray box. I could try it one more time to make sure I didn't. No. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong. No. So, yeah. So yeah. So here we go. So I can't save it just yet. So you can vamp for a minute if you want.
If it would load. So I'd actually probably refresh the page and see if it comes up. See, everyone's connected to Wi-Fi now. Let's see here if this comes up.
Weird.
I don't have the same thing you have on your screen.
Say again?
I wasn't able to access the preview. Ask for an email and a password.
Yep. Password is UCF 2017.
Email as well? Or?
Yeah, you can put in your email.
Okay.
Yep.
So is that caps UCF?
It can be lowercase. It doesn't matter. So UCF 2017, and then it should pop up here.
Oh, there we go. It's uploading. 47%, 51.
That's slow right there. So when this loads, you'll notice that everything that's Ryan's doing here is all broken down by blocks. Hero section is what we call the title. And as you're hovering over these blocks, you can actually see where you're at on the editing screen. The publish button, which is right there on the top right, can obviously push the updates to the app. But each block on any of these screens, this was our Mondrian template, can be edited, customizable. The hamburger menus, of course, the titles, can all be customizable to what your university wants to see. So we're at 100. We may have to skip the uploading of images here.
This is exciting, right? Everyone enjoying it? So is everyone ready for lunch? I hear they give out really nice bags at lunch, like to put your food in. I didn't get one last year, so if you find one, if you ship it to me, I'll be forever grateful. All right. So anyways, look at that, and it's loading right now.
All right.
Oh,
Yay.
man.
We may have to skip the picture on the next part.
Anyways, so now I can go ahead and save it, and we'll see what happens there. You know, we get 2,500 people with 15 devices apiece getting on Wi-Fi.
Is it coming up on your phones, though? Is everybody were you able to access it? This screen, everybody can see this? Yeah. Okay, great. So that's working.
Yeah, so we'll change some text here in a minute, and that'll be easier. So the idea behind this is it's really easy. Generally, it's about 90 times faster than this, and you upload an image, and you save the image right in there. And they do some really cool magic. They actually compress files for you, so you can upload larger images, and you don't have to worry about, like, is this going to be the experience like this when you actually use it.
Picture size is certain. I mean, you guys spec that out somewhere?
Yeah.
Yep.
So depending on the block size and where the photo's going, we'll have those dimensions specified prior to upload. Yeah. So when you upload, yeah, it'll actually tell you the size of the image.
320 by 320 pixels.
Yep. For that one, and as you see with the what to expect block, let's see here. It's bigger than the other ones, so it'll make sure that the image can scale. If I turn it this way.
So you have to have them cropped beforehand.
Yes.
You have to crop, but you don't have to worry about the scale. I mean, you could put 1,000 by 1,000 in, and it will scale it down, and not just scale it down, but it will also put it to the correct size. So you're not trying to load like a 5 meg image in or anything like that.
So the only thing I can think of is actually connecting it to my phone.
Can you do
from
that?
the
But
hotspot, yeah.
No.
And we can avoid this Wi-Fi issue. So let me do that. If this doesn't work, we're going to just jump through and show you guys the rest of this. Wi-Fi, all right. So it should be.
What's the password to Martin55? Just curious.
That's my hotspot. If you want to connect with it and blow up my data, I have to change it after this now.
I'll see. Yeah,
It's gonna start saying 7 devices are connected, and we're just streaming here. Oh yeah, just refresh the network.
How do you do that? Just click away.
Let's see here.
So we're going to teach you today how you can connect a hotspot to a phone.
Landin's hotspot, actually. So there we go.
The password is Modo Labs.
I will change this after the session. So let's see here.
All right. So we're going to disconnect. We're going to refresh, and then we're going to.
As soon as it comes through here.
Could not join.
All right.
Maybe. Do you put the wrong password in?
Nope.
All right. Who's on his network right now?
No. Don't do that. Let's see here. Well, this is a pain. All right, let's just try.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Who on your campus decides which apps show up on the mobile app front page?
That's a wonderful question. We have a governance committee. So when they have a process to go through to answer questions and actually vet themselves to be put into it. So some things are pretty easy when it comes to email and it comes to PeopleSoft, but some things are a little bit more difficult. Like, hey, we want to put sustainability on the app. Is that really something that people want on a mobile application? So we vet that. So, and we've learned that the hard way over time.
And how many people are on that committee?
How many people are on that committee?
What is it composed of? Is it?
It's composed of different people around campus, SGA, marketing, IT, and
Web-savvy folks?
web savvy folks, but also we have things like SGA, marketing. They're web savvy, but they also have the community in mind as well. So we try to get different perspectives. How many people are on that? It rotates. We generally keep about like 6 or 7 people on that committee, depending on availability. Yeah. So.
And they meet monthly?
We meet as needed. We meet as needed as those requests come in.
So it looked like it worked.
Okay.
Save and preview. So I'm gonna actually try to publish this thing,
So we're going to publish this.
and we're gonna refresh on our phones, and it all should work.
So this is the idea of that instant updates. Those updates that it's made, all I do is hit publish and it pushes it to the application. The students it will update the next time the students open it, or if they open it, we'll just update briefly.
And then we'll just jump through the next one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably just skip to
So
laundry.
For like
It's a good question.
Parking and check-in or maps, are you just linking to like a Google Maps site?
So,
or something that you've already got built, or is it all just linking to other things?
With maps, we have custom KMLs built for Google Earth, and we actually upload those directly in, or you can link to them. So it's all native. So with shuttles and parking, that's something that the vendors the partners we work with, they already have responsive mobile presence, and we just link directly to them. So yeah, so it's a mix of native and it's a mix of responsive web.
And you see that model with a lot of apps recently is the hybrid, the native web app model. It's really the thing that most companies are doing these days because of, everybody's building web responsive web pages for their site, and it's important that those are incorporated into the native application. And obviously with anybody that's worked with native, it's difficult to keep the updates. It's a whole different sort of beast to continue the updates. So you see that a lot with any platform, even, obviously Modo, but a lot of these larger platforms do the hybrid style.
So it's taking over here, and then obviously giving you the ability to come back.
A great example, and since unfortunately our demo is not working, the app, the Instructure app that everybody's using. So when you launch the badge scanner, that screen you see there with the QR and my stamps and agents, that is Modo Labs. But when you click my stamps or leader agents, that is not us. But you don't know that you're actually on another Badger's website looking at that status. So the look and feel is very harmonious. So that's a good example. And that app is on its own server, which is why it's working hopefully good, and this is going slow. So that's a great example of the hybrid native web responsive. And Badger actually collects that information. As you noticed, you had to sign in when you took your first badge. They have to know who you are. We, or in Canvas, decided not to authenticate in front of their conference app because they wanted as many people to be able to go around, check the schedule, and not have to log in each time or even log in once. So that was the sort of decision, and every school does it differently. Where you want to authenticate, which it could be on a module level. Somebody could click mail, and they could have to sign in if you were to authenticate one specifically, or some schools, we don't see it often, they could authenticate the whole application. So that's kind of how, the flexibility that you have as a user. So do we know
It shouldn't take, it usually takes seconds to publish.
Yeah.
So.
Another question?
Yes.
Just wondering about, you mentioned that you tapped into Canvas.
Good idea.
Yes.
So what specifically is the student going to see on their side? And you probably can't show it, but what would the student see when they go into it?
As far as the native experience, yeah. So there's a couple of things, and I'd have to look.
Not in the Canvas app, but
In ours. So we will pull in whatever's available from an API standpoint. So they can see their courses, of course, announcements, assignments. They can see the communications from the instructor. Every time they release new APIs, we try to continue to make sure that stuff's available. But the only downfall is that you're limited to the APIs, which is why we see schools kind of doing 50-50. They'll either link out to the native app because they want the whole experience. But I can tell you, a lot of schools will just say, the students aren't using half those things in the app. We just want those core functions to be in the native. They just want courses and announcements. So it really depends on preference. But we will bring in whatever's available on the API.
So
And they're adding stuff all the time.
So for example,
You publish.
make an announcement as an instructor in Canvas.
Publish.
Will that show up, or is that part of an API where it'll show up as a push notification or something like that, whatever
So you're saying if a trigger happens on the Canvas side, will it? So we do not integrate with Canvas like that today. However, it is in discussion. So we've got a third-party API for Communicate. So we can integrate with systems such as Salesforce, different type of CRMs, Canvas, any type of LMS, so that if a trigger happens on one side, and that's what Ryan was talking about, that we're rolling out very, very shortly, and that can be delivered to the specific student. So we have that available to all of our partners. As far as our Communicate tool, you will be able to, of course, schedule just things that aren't tied to other systems. Emergencies, obviously, as you guys are seeing from the conference, all the notifications that they're sending you. So that's how it is available out of the box. But we are actively making those things available to partners. So I'm trying to refresh my phone because I think it published.
Yeah.
Can anybody refresh their app?
I refreshed it, I can see it.
And you can't see it.
I just still see the block.
Somebody got it?
Yeah.
Wow, all right. Fastest phones in here. Mine's obviously not one.
Can we
of
borrow
them.
your Wi-Fi?
Yeah, you have a hotspot.
That'd be awesome.
So we only have 10 minutes left, and obviously we don't want to. We won't go down this route of making sure this slow Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, we will be here for the next 2 days at our booth doing demos like this. And what we were going to walk you through is updating this and then adding the laundry module. So when Ryan would have added the laundry module, I'm not sure if you can actually show them how to do that.
So what I'll just walk through, let's say this getting involved module. We're talking about, we have this mail module here right now, and let's say mail's not, we don't want to use mail anymore. But we want to talk about something like getting involved. So we have a website actually called Getting Involved. So like I said, yet again, this is responsive web. We didn't create anything else. We have the ability now to get in here, change the name, change the icon if we could, and then change the external link, simply just pasting directly over this. And then once we save it, that module will save it and publish it. That will be available to the students. So it's just a couple of clicks. And that's how it's really good working with partners, because you might talk to housing and they might say, well, we already have this content out there. It's native, it will work. Not native, it's responsive, it will work. It's really easy to just be able to drop that information directly in there.
And something to note, the best type of partners for Modo, the best type of different applications are mobile responsive. So you want the pinching and the zooming to be at a minimum. So when you look at the other technologies that you use on campus, other vendors that you work with, I run business development. Feel free to anytime send them over to chat with us to make sure they work. But we are essentially putting in the web responsive page into the app. We've got some very powerful theming engines so that the third party will look, feel, and act just like the rest of your app to keep that theming consistent. But if their app is not mobile responsive, you are going to get that click zoom sort of piece. So you almost want to put pressures on the vendors and the different suppliers and say, it needs to be mobile web, which, from a bias standpoint, I think most things need to be mobile web because that's how, most people expect it to be served. Yep. So mine did update.
I would say just a good example of responsiveness. At UCF, we use something called Laundry View. Is anyone familiar with Laundry View? What it does is it actually has all the laundry machines and dryers are connected to the internet, and you can know when they're open and when they're closed. And so, students. Anyways, so they can jump in here and they could say, okay, I know on the first floor there's a washer open. I'm going to go reserve it, or I'm going to go in there and actually use it. So talk about technology. So that's something that is responsive. So, literally, you threw this in an app, it would look really great. And you didn't have to create anything native. And that would go right here if our demo was...
and so we had this plan to take about 30 to 45 seconds. But it took the whole time. So we apologize for that. But I'll open up to any questions. We're happy to show you guys. And this is still available. We can sit down and walk through the rest of the pieces, and of course send you that push notification anytime for the rest of the conference. Come swing by. But this preview on your phone will stay there for the next couple of weeks for you guys to take a look. So any questions?
So this is an institution-wide example. How feasible is it for an individual? Let's say that my institution doesn't adopt something like this. Is it feasible, or am I able as an individual to build my own app for my students?
You absolutely are. It's for a non-engineer. We give this platform to students all the time and say build the app. Some of our customers, the bandwidth, and we all know, time is of the most essential resources, but we have given the platform to students and let them build the apps. And we've got a lot of customers that are in the App Store right now that were completely student built.
Yeah,
So it's cool.
one of the best case studies is UNC, Chapel Hill. They have their app's called Carolina Go, and it's built by SGA from the ground up. They're not technical. They build the app they want it, and it's because it doesn't have to be technical.
Any other questions? I apologize on the demo, but please come see us at the Partner Pavilion, and we will make up for it. Thank you guys for attending, and please feel free to stop it and chat with us after. Any feedback on the Instructure Con app, definitely let us know.